Before blowing your first whistle, it is wise to spend a few moments thinking about the role of a referee and how you can best fulfill those responsibilities. It's well known that the best referees are those who fly under the radar and who participants don't remember after the match. That said, as a referee, you have an important job to do, and you should approach that job with a commitment to excellence and integrity. Referees have to make decisions and enforce the rules without being overbearing. You are there to facilitate the match and ensure the match is played fairly. There will be calls you must make, but just as importantly, there are calls you do not have to make. When you choose well, you earn the respect from players, coaches, peers, and fans. While you must not duck the responsibilities of making tough calls, do not think that your role is to hunt down calls to make. Let the match play out naturally. When you see a call that needs to be made, blow your whistle and apply the rules that fit the situation. Once you start the match, remain in the impartial territory of the referee stand until the end of the match. Of course, get off the stand if there is an unplanned interruption that requires your attention, such as a protest, extended timeout, or scoring issue. Your signals are what you use to communicate to the officiating crew, teams, and spectators. Don't rush them and use the correct signal sequence. After whistling the fault, first center yourself, then gather all the information you can from your partner and officiating crew. When you have all the information, signal the team to serve next. This is followed by the fault signal, which is the reason you blew your whistle. On most occasions, the second referee steps to the side of the fault and then repeats your signals. When the second referee whistles the fault, you only need to signal the team to serve next, after watching your partner indicate the fault for which the whistle was blown. Your whistle should be crisp, clear, and loud enough to stop play. How you blow your whistle shows your confidence in yourself as a referee, so blow your whistle with authority. You should have 3 whistle techniques. The whistle you use to start and stop play under normal circumstances. This is the whistle technique you use most often. The second whistle is used for regular interruptions to the match. This is used most frequently by the second referee when there is a request for a game interruption, such as a substitution or timeout request. The third whistle is the one that will be used when someone's safety is threatened. When a ball rolls onto the court causing a safety issue, you need a whistle tone that draws attention to yourself and immediately causes the players to stop play. Use the members of your officiating team. Let them support the decisions you make when whistling a fault. At the same time, support their decisions and make them feel a part of the team. Look at them after every play and keep them involved in the match. Don't be afraid to correct the call if you clearly see the play differently. If you are positive of what the call should be, take charge. But make sure you correct the officiating team, not just ignore them. You want to appear confident in your judgment, but don't undermine that perception by signaling the team to serve next, and then look at your line judge to discover a signal that results in you reversing your call. If you definitely see the play differently, look at the line judge before signaling, and then, when necessary, take ownership of the call you make. It's no surprise. Your judgment on ball handling will be one of the most difficult parts of being a first referee. You need to judge ball handling by sight. Never whistle a fault based on what you hear. You must see each contact of the ball by a player. To that end, do not follow the ball into the player's hands. Instead, before the ball arrives, focus and concentrate on the point of contact so your eyes are stationary when the hit occurs. When you see an illegal contact, whistle it. When you think you see an illegal contact, do not whistle. Be consistent in your judgment. Call the ball handling the same from player to player and from team to team. Call double contacts and caught or thrown balls at the end of the match within the same boundaries that you set at the beginning of the match. Remain in control, backing up your calls when necessary with language from the DCR.
Let's look at the playing actions that occur during play. The start of every play begins with the serve, which of course will not require ball handling judgment, just your knowledge of the serve rules. These rules apply to a served ball. The ball must be hit with one hand or arm after being tossed or released by the server. The entire service action must take place on the playing surface. As long as both feet are on the playing surface, it is acceptable for part of the server's foot or feet to be in contact with the non-playing surface. Use common sense. Make sure the server is on the playing surface before whistling and authorizing the serve. 8 seconds are allowed to execute the service, and only one toss or release of the ball for service is allowed for age groups 15 years old and up. There are exceptions for 14 and under age play, so you should know them when officiating those age groups.
On the first team hit, multiple contacts are allowed, provided the player makes one attempt to play the ball. A double contact is whistled if the player contacts the ball in multiple attempts with no intervening contact by another player. Make sure you see 2 separate attempts to play the ball before whistling a double contact fault. If the ball is caught or thrown, whistle a fault. Be sure not to whistle body position. Judge only the player contact with the ball. In this clip, you see a player on the left set a ball coming off of the opponent's block. Because this is the first team hit for his team, no fault has occurred, and the first referee correctly allows play to continue. This clip, however, shows an illegal double hit on the first team contact. The middle hitter on the team on the right is blocked. The ball hits him in the shoulder, and then he again plays it a second time. Clearly 2 attempts, which is illegal. On the second and third team hits, there are 2 types of ball handling faults that must be whistled. A double contact is when a player hits the ball twice in succession or the ball contacts various parts of the player's body in succession. This is the fault that generally occurs if the player has little or no control of the contact. When the player shows athleticism on the second contact, you should be more liberal in your judgment of the double contact. Allow a slight bobble to congratulate the player on his or her ability to play the ball well. A catch occurs when the ball is caught and or thrown by the player. When this occurs, the ball generally does not rebound from the hit. This type of fault usually occurs when the player has over control of the ball. Remember that just because a contact is ugly, this does not always result in an illegal contact. You must see the contact and judge only what you see. The bottom line is always to be consistent. From the first play of the match through the last, you want to ensure you whistle faults consistently. Here, the first referee whistles 2 hits on the setter on the left. The first referee does a great job of whistling as soon as the fault occurs, showing decisiveness and the ability to keep up with the speed of play. In this clip, the first referee has to make a series of decisions in very short order. Is the dump on your right a caught or thrown ball? Was the dig on your left legal? And then instantly, how about the second team contact on your left? It was awkward, but a fault? Here, the first referee makes the right judgment calls and play continues. You can't call what you can't see, so it is important to be sure to get a very good look at every contact. As a first referee, sometimes it is a matter of moving your head slightly. Other times, you need to turn on the stand to get a good look at how a player contacts the ball. In this clip, the first referee does an excellent job of turning to his left to see the blue team's second contact and then quickly return to his base position as the rally continues. You want to avoid making automatic calls. For example, a ball recovered from the net. The ball often rebounds slowly on these plays, but that does not always result in a caught or thrown ball. Plays made from strange body positions. Remember, ugly does not mean illegal. Skills attempted by lesser skilled players. Not all players have the same ability to play the ball, but just because a player is not as competent as others does not mean the contact is illegal. Contacts made that you cannot see. Sometimes the player's back is to you and you are working with a second referee who gives you no assistance. You cannot judge a contact you cannot see, no matter what you might think happened. Remember, there is no body position or technique that cannot result in a legal contact of the ball. Here you see an example of a ball handling call that is too often whistled by first referees. Number 6 on your right participates in a block. When the ball comes down between him and the net, he plays it up with an unorthodox technique. In this case, the first referee correctly judged the contact as 2 hits with 1 attempt to play the ball, and no fault is called on number 6. In the clip you see next, once again the ball goes down the front of the blocking team. As the team attempts to play the ball out of the net, number 24 on the left contacts it twice. The second referee provides excellent help to the first referee and then promptly calls the net fault that occurs an instant later, before the first referee has had a chance to react to the assistance. In this clip, you have the same view as the first referee on a play where the pancake effort is screened by the player's teammates. As the first referee, you should look at your partner, and if the second referee does not indicate a fault, then you should not whistle and play should continue. Remember that ball handling judgment is one of the most difficult parts of being a first referee. Here are a few things that will assist you in becoming a better judge of ball handling when working as a first referee. Judge only what you see. Do not listen to complaints from coaches, players, or spectators. A spinning ball does not mean a fault has occurred. If you whistle a fault long after the ball has left the hands of the setter just because there is spin, you are not judging the contact of the ball by the player. You are judging only the movement of the ball. Make sure that when you make that first ball handling fault call, you are able to sustain that level of consistency throughout the match. Learn what other referees are whistling as faults. Watch top-level referees work matches, whether in TV or in person. This way, you learn what is determined to be a fault by watching experienced referees work. Work, work, work. One of the best ways to get better with your ball handling judgment is through experience. Referee as often as you can and talk to each partner after every match to reinforce what you are learning with each experience.